Testing 1, 2. Okay. Okay, mighty companions. Welcome to the Course in Miracles.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I always like to take a minute to make some contact.
Let's have
Yeah,
contact.
yeah. Wanted to say welcome to those who are watching on Facebook Live, and that ain't no jive. From all over the world, we're gonna get deep into this. It's gonna be an interesting section that we're gonna be doing today. And it's going to be in the manual for teachers in the Course in Miracles. And it's going to be on page 22 in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of the Course in Miracles. And the name of it is Should Healing Be Repeated? Should healing be repeated? Should you have to continue to be healed over and over and over and over and over and over and over? How does that work? How does that whole healing paradigm work from a Course in Miracles perspective? And so what I want to do is make sure that I can allow myself to see the comments from people. So the first thing I want to do is I want to do the guidelines for the Course in Miracles.
What page, sir?
On page 22 in the Course in Miracles. So if you're here for the first time, these are the guidelines for the class. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. So everybody familiar with active resistance? Okay, that means some of the stuff you may actively resist. And some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of the stuff from A Course in Miracles may be hard to believe. And some of the ideas from A Course in Miracles may be quite startling. Some of the stuff might be quite startling. Now, you are not being asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. Even though we're going to do it. I know you're going to do it. Because I know we are programmed to think that something isn't true unless we agree with it. Which is really hilarious. Like, unless you say it's true, then what I've got to say today may not have any validity. That's okay. We all have grandiose ideas of ourselves from time to time. But something could actually be true even though you may not believe it. Did you know that?
Yes.
Something may actually be true even if you don't agree with it. It's possible. It really is. You are not being asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. So you want to say to the loving part of yourself, say to the spiritual part of yourself, say to the true part of yourself, show me that the ideas are true. Loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true. Fun is permitted. Show me that the ideas are true. Loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true. If anybody want to twerk, that's okay. Show me that the ideas are true. See, I knew somebody was gonna do it. Yeah, yes. You know your purpose. You know your purpose. Many people don't, but I'm glad you do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to juice it up, read it. Then I'm going to go back through it, and then see what the message is that we're being asked to remember. Then I open it up into questions about the paragraph that I've just said, or comments, and then we go to the next one. Is that fair enough? Okay. And I do it with rhythm because when you listen to the replay, it's easier to hook your attention if something is done to rhythm rather than you just talking. It's there's something about it. Plus, I feel funky.
You know your purpose.
I know my purpose. Should healing be repeated? Should healing be repeated? This question really answers itself. Healing cannot be repeated. What? Healing cannot be repeated. If the patient is healed, really healed, what remains to heal him from? And if the healing is certain, as we have already said it is, what is there to repeat if the healing is certain? For a teacher of God, a teacher of love, for a teacher of love to remain concerned about the result of healing is to limit the healing. For a teacher of God to remain concerned about the result of healing is to limit the healing. It is now the teacher of God himself whose mind needs to be healed. And it is this the teacher of love must facilitate. That means if you're still concerned about the result of a healing, you are now the patient, which means you must so regard yourself as the patient if you are still concerned about the results of a healing. You have made a mistake, and now you must so regard yourself as the patient. You have made a mistake and must be willing to change your mind about it. Be willing to change your mind about it. You lack the trust that makes forgiving truly. And so you have not received the benefit of your gift.
Yeah, baby.
Y'all can see that on the page. Part of it. That was a loaded paragraph.
Oh,
Yes.
That was a loaded paragraph. So, should you repeat healing?
no.
Well, actually, the question answers itself. You can't repeat a healing because actually, if a person's really been healed, if the situation's really been healed, if you've really been healed, then what remains to have you healed from? Now, the Course in Miracles definition of healing is the undoing of fear. So I'm going to give you the Course in Miracles definitions of terms as I go through here. A miracle is a correct perception. A miracle is a correct, loving perception. And the Course in Miracles teaches that if we have a correct perception, it's a miracle.
Yes.
And that's why it's called the Course in Miracles.
Yeah.
You know, if we see each other in a loving way, in a sane way, in a giving way, in a peaceful way, in a humane way, in a sane, that's a miracle from a Course in Miracles perspective. So a miracle is a correct perception. So and a healing is the undoing of fear, because all lack of peace ultimately comes from some level of fear. So the Course says, if the healing is certain, as we've already said it is, what is there to repeat? For a teacher of God, a teacher of love, to remain concerned about the result of a healing limits the healing. If I've given it to Spirit, if I've given it to God, if I've given it to truth, if I've given it to love, and I'm really trusting in a higher power within myself and a higher power within us, then the Course in Miracles says, then if you are concerned about the result of the healing, you are limiting the healing in your own mind. Mm-hmm. If you go to the doctor and you have a strep throat, that's Southern. That's straight up Southern there, boy. All right, I went back. I'm fixing to tell y'all the truth. In the South, we just do shortcuts. We just cut out words. You don't worry about trying to say every distinct syllable.
It saves time.
Saves time. I am going to go to the grocery store. I'm fixing to go to the store. That's where you say it in the South. So the Course in Miracles is saying to us that if I remain concerned about the result of the healing, then the truth is I'm limiting the healing by not having the faith. And so therefore I'm the one who needs to have my mind healed, because I'm doubting the power of love. I'm doubting the power of truth. I'm doubting the power of God. I'm doubting the power of Spirit. So if I'm concerned, I need to stop seeing you as the patient, and I need to start seeing me as the patient. I'm the one that needs to be healed if I'm coming from a place that's not rooted in love and faith and truth. Now, remember, what we want to do is just hear what the Course in Miracles is saying. It's not all about you accepting it as true. The Course says there are 4 stages to accepting the truth or changing your mind. First, you have to hear the new idea. And you hear the new idea and you repeat the new idea as much as possible, even though you may have some reservations about the truth of the new idea. But if you keep on repeating it to yourself long enough, you will eventually accept it as true. That's why you think the way you do about yourself right now. Like whatever you think about yourself and whatever you think the truth is the result of repetition, being constantly programmed over and over again. That's why some people don't love themselves and they feel like they're not valuable, because they grew up being constantly criticized, condemned, and judged. So they heard that they were not enough and not lovable so much that they actually believed that about themselves for no other reason than what they were programmed and hearing all the time. And sometimes we forget that that's just as true today, that you're still doing the same thing. You are believing what you constantly tell yourself, and if you want to have a different experience, then you got to tell yourself some different things, and you have to be around people who support that way of seeing things that you want to see now. Stop thinking that you're going to change your mind, still telling yourself the same thing, being around people who are still saying the same negative stuff that you're saying you don't want to believe anymore. Because what's making a person unhappy is the voice in their head, more so than the exterior situation that's happening. For instance, right now we're sitting in a peaceful room with cute, juicy people. Right? Look around this room. Look around this room. You don't. That's right. Now make sure you don't ask for nobody's phone number. Because then, right now they think highly of you. They don't know all about your issues. They don't know that if you wanted a relationship with them, maybe that you're looking for them to make up for what didn't happen in the rest of them. And they're supposed to validate you now and make you feel good. So the Course in Miracles is saying to us that we need to recognize that if we're in a peaceful situation, in a beautiful situation like we're in right now, and we're unhappy, it's because of something we're telling ourselves while we're sitting here right now. And the Course says it's usually something that's based on something that happened to you in the past or something that you anticipate might happen in the future. So you're not really being present if you're unhappy in a peaceful, loving place that you're safe. So most people's unhappiness is not coming from a physical condition that they're dealing with in any particular moment. It is what they are telling themselves in any particular moment. So if I limit the healing by doubting that I've given it to spirit, then the Course in Miracles says I'm the one that needs to be healed, so that's what needs to be facilitated is my own healing. So if you're less than peaceful right now, you need to be working on yourself rather than trying to get somebody else to change so you'll be happy. Which is the way that the mind that doesn't know the truth handles things, as they constantly focus on what needs to change outside of their own mind, the person, the situation, the circumstance before they can be happy. If I have more money, I'll be happy. If you treat me a certain way, I'll be happy. If I'm in another place to live, I'll be happy. We are totally oriented all the time to seek outside ourselves. Right? And so the Course is saying to us, then if I have the lack of faith, then I'm the patient, and I must regard myself as the patient. I've made a mistake by doubting the healing, and so therefore I must be willing to do what? Change my mind about any mistake that I make. If I'm making a mistake, what's the next step? I need to change my mind about it. Right? And the Course teaches us that, but what is the mistake? You lack the trust that makes for giving truly. See, I can't give to you unless I trust that I'm not going to lose by giving. I can't give you what I don't have. So giving reinforces the idea of having. So every time you give, you increase what you have because you're increasing your belief that you have it. And what we perceive and experience comes from what we believe and accept as true. So the more I give, the more I believe that I have what it is I gave because I couldn't give it unless I had it. I can't give you this piece of paper unless I have it. So every time you give something, you're saying, I have it. And when you have it, it keeps coming to you because our out is a reflection of what's going on in our inner, which we don't have to believe, don't have to accept, don't have to welcome. And I'll just, for the group, I'll just say this for everybody right now. Yes, but. Okay, yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. Okay. Y'all got nice yes buts. Y'all really do. I noticed it as you came in. Okay, now. I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to be the way anybody thinks I should be.
Thank God.
So if you got a stereotypical idea of what you think a teacher should be like, I hope I break it. Because what it's really about in this world is being your authentic self and not trying to be what anybody else wants you to be. If you want to be happy, you follow your path, your individual path, not what anybody else says that you should be doing.
Thank you, Rob.
And so I'm going to always support that in everybody I know. Is how can I help you be more you? That people go, well, what do you want me to do? I said, be more you, because then you'll be interesting. Then I'm not talking to the programmed robot that we've been trained to be since the day we were born. I don't want people dictating to me what should make me happy, what I should be able to wear, anything about that. Because you are a gift, and your gift is your unique individual ray of God and love that you are.
Amen.
And so you're cheating everybody else when you're trying to be like everybody else. And if you're struggling, you're following somebody else's path and not yours. When you're following your path, life unfolds, obstacles are removed, things become easier. And if you believe no pain, no gain, then what you upset about if you're in pain? Right? I mean, if you set it up, no pain, no gain, then you think life has to be a struggle in order for something to be worthwhile, and you're struggling, you should feel successful. And you shouldn't be complaining. Right? Right? So the Course says you lack the trust that makes for giving truly. So therefore you haven't received the benefit of your own gift because you have not trusted. So what we just heard is the way we are going to be when we go through the process of allowing ourselves to have the blocks to love removed from us. So readiness is not mastery. Just because we hear about how we should be doesn't mean that we've mastered being that way. Right? We are going to become unconditionally loving, aware, conscious beings one day. You know, just like the whole pecan tree is in the pecan seed, right? So, but you don't see the tree at first. So you're all a bunch of seeds. I'm a seed.
Yes.
Right? But I know what I'm supposed to look like. an unconditional loving being that sees myself as innocent, joining with everybody around me, wanting to extend love into the world. That's what I want to be a living human representation of. The embodiment of Christ consciousness, love consciousness. That's what I'm on the planet for. And I can also do it in the Caribbean.
That's right. Or Glastonbury.
Or Glastonbury.
Or Glastonbury. Let's go.
So, before I go to the next paragraph, what was the point of that paragraph? If something's really been handled, it doesn't have to be handled over and over again, healed over and over again. If you're not trusting the universe and spirit, and then asking the spirit what your role is, and you doubt the healing has happened, then the Course says, then you're the patient, your mind needs to be changed, you're the one that needs to be healed. So you should be facilitating your healing. It teaches, I only see your ego through my ego. I see your fear through my fear. I see my selfishness in your selfishness. For me to see you as selfish, I have to have selfish thoughts in me to even identify that in you. So I only see you through my own ego, the thoughts and beliefs I have. So when I look at you and I say you're really selfish, which usually means you're not doing what I want you to. Let's just be straight up. A selfish person is generally a person that's not doing what you want them to do, how you think they should be doing it. That's their crime. That's what makes them selfish. Now the fact that you want it your way regardless of how they want to do it, somehow or another you don't see that as selfish. But that's exactly what you're doing when you're trying to make somebody else change to make you happy. You're the one that's being selfish. You're not asking them, is this what you voluntarily would be open to do without a sense of sacrifice? I'm saying if you don't do it, you don't really love me. That's different. That's manipulation and control. So when you begin to feel your power and feel your spirit and feel centered in yourself, people who like to manipulate, who are fearful, insecure, they will see you as a selfish person because you won't allow yourself to be manipulated by their guilt trips.
Right.
Because guilt trips are one of the main ways that people use to control other people.
Right.
So when you begin to wake up spiritually, you go in the opposite direction of somebody that wants to guilt trip you. You don't go toward them unless you believe you deserve to be punished yourself.
Right.
This is like the best class ever.
All we have is now.
So before I go to the next paragraph, anybody got a comment about, a question or comment about what I just said?
I just know that when I'm trying to heal in that way that's questioning, it's me, first of all, determining what it should look like. So like not trusting the Holy Spirit with like the love I'm giving. I'm giving love that's conditional and that wants a certain effect. So if I'm concerned about whatever healing my love might give or whatever my purpose might affect, that's me determining that it's my doing that is only worth getting a certain outcome.
That's right.
So I'm already totally detached from like what the point of it is. So I'm coming from a lack mentality of I'm gonna know I've done healing if, rather than I'm fulfilling a function and then the Holy Spirit gets to work in that person's life for however that's received. So it's like I've made myself that person's God.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that because I feel like I need to be in charge again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, the part that stuck most for me is whenever I am present to be a channel for healing, I realize that I'm not the one doing the healing. And
That's why it works.
yes.
That's the secret to success.
Exactly. So it
Yeah.
pretty much takes me off the hook.
Yeah.
Rather than me
Yeah.
being concerned that is the healing gonna take, then I can let myself off. And even when I do that, I just tell myself, oh, I made a mistake.
There you go.
As soon as I say I make a mistake,
There you
then
go.
the spirit kicks in and they can
There
give me
you
a
go.
correction.
I love to hear how all parts of myself think. Anybody else? I'm working my way up.
Oh, a lot of.
For me, the
Yeah.
bottom line is, I am at peace when I mind my own business.
And everybody else too. Right? What you think of me is none of my business. I want y'all to know, what y'all think of me is none of my business. It really isn't.
When I first read the, he has made a mistake, the ego in me kicked in and was like, wow, that feels heavy, you know, and I started to continue to read. He lacked the trust, and it felt kind of heavy, and then I went back and I said, wait a minute, there's another way to look at this. I could look at this lightly, you know, like with a light energy, with a welcoming energy. Okay, I just made a mistake.
I just made a mistake.
Yeah.
Mistake is for correction.
Yeah.
It's not for, you don't need to be crucified.
Got it.
And, because what was my mistake? My lack of trust. Like, and see, when people are always trying to analyze the course and figure out what it's saying, where they'd actually read it, they see that it's saying what it's saying right in front of their face. It's not like I need to read a sentence getting bad off the book and then think about what I think it means. Actually, I could keep on going and see what it says it means. You know, and that's how you do the course. The course is difficult for people who are constantly trying to fit it into their thought system. I'm reading this and I'm trying to fit it into how I think, rather than, first of all, let me hear what it's saying, whether I believe it or not. And then, if it's ideas that I know I would like to accept as true, I need to repeat it, and I'm going to have some reservations until I eventually accept it as true. Then when I accept it as true, then I'll perceive it as true. So your perception is coming from your beliefs, not the other way around. So, all right, I'm going to go, yeah.
There's never a need to worry.
There's never a need to worry, even though we may choose to worry. Right. You know, no matter what's happening, I could be so centered that I feel peaceful. No matter what's happening. It's not saying things may not happen, but I could be in a state of centeredness that would allow me to handle a situation better than a state of fear would.
Right.
You know, if you're injured in an accident and then somebody runs up to you and goes, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh, what are we gonna do? Oh, what are we gonna do? And then somebody else comes up and say, okay, just be calm, take a breath, and call 911, everything's gonna be cool. Now, who do you want to call? Who do you want to call? And in most cases, you don't want to cause a miracle student because they'll tell you, it's not real. Your broke leg is not real. Like, give me somebody unconscious who will call 911. You know, it's not real. Your pain is not real. You're not your body. You're not your body. I might not be my body, but I have one.
Yeah.
See, that's, you know what I'm saying? We're unlimited spiritual beings having a human experience. We're unlimited spiritual beings having a human experience, acting on the beliefs that we got from the day we were born. And the moment you were born, people started describing to you what the truth is.
Yeah.
And when you get to the point you can accept the interpretations you were given without any help, even though they're wrong, then you become a member of society. Right? And how do you know they're incorrect teachings? Because there's too much pain, separation in our world. That's how you know that something that we're learning and believing is not true, because there's too much separation, tribalism, projection, you know, this group versus that group, this race versus that race, this country versus that country, this sex. The results should be showing us that something is awry. But what happens is each person's ego tells them they're not the problem, it's everybody else. And if everybody else was more like me, then the world would be a better place. So everybody's waiting for somebody else to change.
Yep.
And then I made the decision I was going to be the love I wanted to have, because I noticed that whatever you are is what you attract. And what you, so if I want more fun in my life, I have to become more fun. If I want more love in my life, I have to become more loving. But an unconscious, fear-based person does just the opposite. They expect people to come to them and make them feel good. Right? You know, so...
You want something, you have to be it.
And that's what the purpose of a relationship becomes for many people. So the next paragraph says, whenever you try to be a channel for healing, you've succeeded. Wow. Whenever you try to be a channel for love, the Course says you've succeeded. For you to, and then it says, should you be tempted to doubt that whenever you've been a channel for healing, you've succeeded, you should not repeat your previous effort. So if you don't think you've succeeded in being a channel for love, he says, stop trying to be a channel for love, because that was already maximal. You've already done that as much as you can do. And of course, because the Holy Spirit so accepted your willingness to be a channel for healing, the Holy Spirit, your higher self, your higher power, so used your willingness to be a healing. Now you have only one course to follow. You must use your reason to tell yourself that you've given the problem to the one who cannot fail. See, again, are we going to do that lip service to God, to a higher power, to the Creator? Or is it just going to be something we say because we've been programmed and changed to say it? You know, most people, when you talk to them and you say, do you believe in a higher power? They'll say yes. And then 5 minutes later, they'll be telling you all the things they're worried about, concerned about, they're trying to fix, and what they're trying to change. They don't see that that's totally opposite to, I believe there's something greater than myself that I can turn to for help. And love, because the example that we've had is human love. And human love is so inconsistent and so undependable that love is actually frightening to us, because for many people, including myself, it's not strangers that have ever hurt me or I perceived as hurting me. It was people who told me they loved me.
Right.
It wasn't a stranger. I can count the number of times in my entire life that a stranger has done anything to me, and the strangers we're afraid of. You should be embracing them. You're a stranger, and that's what's been happening to me. Strangers have been walking up to me and hugging me, and it's trippy. I mean, it's really trippy. You know, I shared that story before about being on the elevator recently, and the young lady just got up and just hugged me. I was in the park and just hugged me. I went to listen to some music. So it was male and female, not just women. You know.
You're so irresistible.
Now, the reason why I say that is that when you want that love to start radiating through you, it transcends gender and it transcends sex.
That's true.
You know, love isn't a gender. Love isn't a sex. Specialness is. Not love. Love doesn't have any of the rules that we have. This is such a good section. I want to make sure, because I got some stuff that's going to be mind-blowing. I want to make sure I get to it. So it says, so you must let your reason tell you that you've given the problem to God who cannot fail. So what must you recognize? It says you need to recognize that your own uncertainty, your own doubt about the healing isn't love. That's fear. I've given the situation to God, and now I'm still concerned about it. I don't trust God. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And then the course says, and therefore, hate. Wow, that's pretty intense. You know, and it says, so your position has become untenable, for you are offering hate to the one you offered love to. If I am constantly concerned about you every second, wondering what's going to happen to you and concerned about what's going to happen to you, that's a projection of fear on you all day, which is what parents do unconsciously and call it concern for their child.
For the child,
They're terrified of all the things they think could happen to their child. They're projecting all those things on their child. But they think that means they're a good parent. And so if I really had trust in a higher power and I've done all that I can do, I have to release it.
Yes.
See, your children come here with their soul lessons just like you came here with your soul lessons. Because we come here for the evolution of our soul, and the earth is a school for souls to evolve in. See, that makes more sense to me than think I'm here because of a stork.
I'm a black swan.
Yeah, I'm a black swan.
Accident.
But think about it. Okay, what makes more sense to you? You are a soul that you were created by love and created by the unlimited, and you have a soul, and your soul is evolving and becoming more and more loving and conscious. And that's why you're here. The sex was used to create the body that allowed your soul to enter here to have its lesson. Somehow or another, we got caught up in the vehicle to get here to make that the goal. Right? Now the body is the goal, but it was the means for us to get here. But all of a sudden, it's like falling in love with your car to the point you forgot that it was supposed to take you to the mall. Oh, the real purpose of the car is to get me to the mall, transportation. But I fell in love with my car. Do you know that car you love so much, if somebody else was behind the wheel, it'll run over you? It would not go, oh, that's Earl! I'm not going to hit him. So next time you're loving a material object more than a person, you might want to think, is your car going to take you? Is it your car going to call 911 or another person? Our relationships with each other are the most important things and the greatest treasures we could possibly have. Really. Material things in the physical world is neutral. You can give yourself peace through all the stuff in the world, and you can give yourself fear through all the stuff in the world. But all the material things are neutral. So I'm not anti-material thing. I'm just saying it's not the source of your happiness. And so the Course is saying to us that the reason why your position is untenable is just because you are doing what? I should be offering love to you, but I'm offering hate and fear to you. But the truth is, if I've offered love to you, he says, then it's impossible for me to offer hate to you. So having offered love, only love can be received. So if I'm giving you love, that's all you're going to receive from me is love. Oh, that's deep. That's deep. So if you've been trying to help somebody and it looks like it's not been successful, then you should be working on your faith. Right? And if somebody really needs to be helped, they're going to be helped even if they're not helped by you. Okay, God wouldn't be so cruel as to make somebody's ability to be helped and healed be dependent on you doing it. We all be up the creek. Right? Yeah, the universe is kinder than us. Right? Thank goodness. And so the Course says, it is in this that the teacher of love must trust, because God is love. So is this the teacher of love must trust? This is what is really meant by the statement, the one responsibility of a miracle worker is to accept the truth for themselves. That's the atonement. So your responsibility is to accept the truth for you. My responsibility is to accept the truth and the love for me, not to try to make sure you get it. My responsibility is to accept the release from guilt and release from anger and guilt and grievances for myself. Okay, that's the easy way. See, I'm telling you the easy way, but it's not the way that people think is really the easy way. See, your wrong-mindedness, the Course says, will tell you that the way you get things to change is to change everybody else, which you can't. But the person you do have the most influence over is yourself. So when I'm a control freak, so I've decided I'm going to control me. So I still get my desire to control acted out, but I'm actually doing it where it can have some effectiveness. So I'm a control freak of myself. Instead of used to be, I want to be a control freak of somebody else, right? So the Course then says the teacher of love is a miracle worker because they give the gifts that they received. I received love in the truth. I'm going to share love in the truth. But how do you share love in the truth? To say, well, first you have to accept the gifts. So the first thing I need to do is accept I am loved, I am innocent, I am supported, I am valuable, I am connected, I am one, I am loved by God. So a teacher of God is different from a regular messenger in the world because your postman, mail woman, however you want to say it, they deliver a message to you. And they don't decide who's going to receive the mail. They just deliver it, and they don't stand there and wait till you open it to give their opinion of it. Right? So the Course says a spiritual teacher, messenger, accepts the message for themselves first, and then they deliver the message. So accept that you are valuable, you are beautiful, you're innocent, you're powerful, you're not alone, you are loved first. And then it says the teacher of love need do no more, nor is there more that the teacher of truth can do. I'm going to accept the truth. See, if I accept the truth for myself and I become a more sane, loving person, I have helped all of you. If you're not worried about me being behind a building getting ready to attack you because I've learned how to love myself more, that is a benefit to all of you. So if all of you became more loving, it would benefit everybody in here. So if you just worked on getting rid of your blocks with the help of a higher power, then that higher power is going to direct you how you can be of aid to other people, which is cool. And you can tell when you're being directed according to the Course by your higher powers because you'll be able to do it and you'll want to do it. It won't feel like a sacrifice when you're being guided by your true self. So the person you don't want to help is not the person you're supposed to help. But that doesn't mean that person's not going to get help. Again, don't make yourself God in the sense that if you don't do it, it's not going to be done. But the person that you feel inspired, sometimes when I come out of a store and someone is begging for whatever reason, I'm not moved. And I might not give them anything except, giving them the Spirit to be there for them in whatever way it can be. Then there's some people that actually feel compelled. It's like I can't even help myself before I'm giving something to them. That was the person I was supposed to help.
Yeah.
Right? So now let's take a breath and let's all together say, yes, but.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now, then the next thing it says is that by accepting healing, you can give healing. If you doubt that you've been healed, let you remember who gave the gift and who received the gift. Love gave the gift, love received the gift, God gave the gift, God received the gift. Thus is your doubt corrected. You thought the gifts of God could be withdrawn. We think love can be withdrawn. If someone loves you, they don't love you today and don't love you next week. Anybody that you say you were in love with in the past and you saying you don't love now, you didn't love them then. If it's love, it doesn't stop. Love only stops. No, love doesn't stop. Specialness stops. I'm going to keep going back to that because the Course in Miracles teaches that we are confused between what love is and what specialness is.
Right.
You know, what we call love is specialness. My children are more special to me than your children. So I look out for my children more than I look out for your children. Right? You know, my mate, my partner, what makes them stand out? They're the most special to me. That's not love. Love is equally given to all. We count on our Creator loving all of us equally. We count on God loving all of us equally. All of us being equally able to tap into that love. That's not the way we do it. That's where the disappointment comes in, because specialness is a bargain made with guilt. You're going to act the way I want you to act, do what I want you to do. I'm going to withdraw my love, or I'll get so angry I'll get you to do what I want you to do. Or I'm going to withdraw my energy if you don't do what I want you to do. That's specialness. That ain't love. But since you have singled that person out, then they're the first one you should be practicing love with. Why? Because that's your primary relationship. So if you're going to practice the truth, practice it with the person you say is so special to you. But that's the one that usually depress people the most about sex. You know, that's kind of sad. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen couples more depressed than when I showed them how they could stay together when I would work with them. Because some of them, they just want to be able to say they gave it a good shot.
Right.
They're not really coming there to heal. They just want to say, we went to counseling and it didn't work. We still couldn't get it together. There's no such thing as two people who really want to have peace with each other not being able to have peace with each other. It's impossible. Somebody still is trying to get somebody else to bend to their will, who's not really listening to the other point of view. So the Course says to us that it is this that you must trust, right? And the Course in Miracles says that this is what is really meant by the statement, the one responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the truth for himself. And then this next paragraph, paragraph 4, has been the one that I've really been wanting to get to because it's a trip paragraph. Okay, check this out. One of the most difficult temptations, my girl, anyway, one of the
Go on, temptation.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm a temptation. I've been called that a few times. A difficult temptation. That's my ex-wife. Okay. Now, one of the most difficult temptations to recognize is that to doubt a healing because of the appearance of continuing symptoms is a mistake in the form of lack of trust. If I doubt the healing because it still looks like the symptoms are there, he says you're not trusting. Like what I was getting ready to do with the example earlier of if you have a really severely irritated throat and you go to the doctor and he gives you antibiotics, your throat doesn't immediately look better. It still looks exactly the way it did before they gave you the shot. But you say, oh, I've been healed, right? Because you feel like you got the medicine that's going to do the healing. Even though the symptoms still appear to be there, you're not doubting that you've been healed. So just because you may still have the symptom of not having the prosperity and abundance you want, you still may have the symptom of not having the level of health that you want or success in what you're trying to do. Even though it can look like you're still suffering, if you've been really diligently working on the truth, allowing yourself to become more loving, trying to let go of your blocks, then I have been healed. And what you are watching is the after image of your healing. You know, like if there's a fan going and you unplug it, it takes a little while for the blades to stop, but the fan has been unplugged. So just because your blade is still spinning, it doesn't mean that you haven't unplugged the sickness or the problem if you're focusing on the truth. So a conscious being is saying, I know, even though it looks like I still have some of my patterns, I know because I'm taking more responsibility for my experience and I'm trying to let go of my blocks, the healing is happening. And I've got to stop doubting the healing just because the symptoms still look like they're there. Right? And that's what I'm saying. Then it says that's one of the most difficult temptations. As such, it is an attack. Usually it seems to be just the opposite. It does appear unreasonable at first to be told that continued concern is attack. That seems unreasonable because I'm concerned about everything. And this is where you're attacking everything. You're not trusting love, you're not trusting spirit, you're not trusting anything real, you're just full of fear, you're just attacking everything. And the Course in Miracles says it has all the appearances of love. It looks like my continued concern is me loving you, but it's really me attacking you and fearing and not trusting and not believing in you and who and what you are or spirit. So sometimes people think worry is the same as loving somebody. So the Course in Miracles says love without trust is impossible. No such thing as I love you and I don't trust you. I love you, but I don't trust you. I love you, no. So if you want to find out how you feel about the people in your life, then just ask yourself, do you have absolute trust? And who do you have absolute trust in? And if you say nobody, there's nobody you're really expressing love for. Kind of wiped out most of the people we sometimes when people leave course class and drive over a cliff, they just well, thank you. I thought that was pretty cool till I came in this class. I found out I don't have a run. I'm totally concerned about everybody I'm attacking. Good. Now you're getting ready to go in the real true direction because you're seeing where you are. So now you can be helped. Because you've been wondering why you go through all that pain. Well, it really wasn't love. You know, you're wondering why you're not happy. Well, you've really been trying to get other people to do it, but it comes from within you. You see, it's like we're being given reasons for why we don't have peace. And the reason is us, which is the best place it could be. If my happiness depended on you, that's not the optimum position. Do you understand what I'm saying? Listen to what I'm saying. If you set it up that your happiness is only going to be when you have $1 million and you don't, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Because now you're making your happiness dependent on what you don't have now, and it's only what you have now that you can really experience and appreciate. I can be a happy person and then be happy with $1 million or $20. I can be a happy person and be happy in a mansion or happy in a shack.
Yeah.
So I got to bring my joy and my happiness into my experiences and not look at my outer experience as being the cause of it. Right. So the Course is saying to us, love without trust is impossible, and doubt and trust cannot coexist. I'm either doubting or I'm trusting, and hate is the opposite of love. But what hate is a very extreme form of fear. That's all hate is. It's just a very extreme form of fear, regardless of the form it takes. So don't doubt the gift. Don't doubt the truth. Don't doubt the love. And it becomes impossible to doubt its result. This is the certainty that gives you the power to be a miracle worker. So what is it that gives you the power to be a miracle worker? What is it that gives you the power to be a love worker? What is it that gives you the power? It says you place your trust in God. You place your trust in a higher power. You place your trust in real love. What I love about real love is I don't have to put it in me. It's what I am. It's what I am. So therefore, I just need to get rid of what's keeping me from letting it shine. You're not trying to be loving. You are loving. It's just covered up with your belief system. You are loving. That's what you are. Think about that. That's what you are. That means you're free. Love is freedom, so you're free. You're free. You are free. We're like prisoners who've been pardoned, who's still sitting in the jail cell. The jail door is open. The prison courtyard is empty. There are tumbleweeds going through the prison. And you sit there waiting for somebody to free you. That's the average person. They are not taking advantage of the freedom that they already have because they're waiting for somebody else to free them, or they don't realize they're a prisoner of their own thinking. Most people are prisoners of their own thinking. That's why it's if you can control the way a person thinks, then you truly are in control of that person. So if you let other people determine what you think and what you believe, you're denying the power of your thought, and you're rendering your thought impotent. And the power of your thought is that you can think what you want to think. I can think anything I want to think standing up here. You can't stop me from thinking anything that I want to think about you or me right now. Think about that. So whenever you don't let yourself think for yourself, you're decreasing the power of your thought. So I have certain thoughts I'm afraid to even think.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? And you have, and you're free. You don't have to believe you're guilty and sinful and bad. That if you choose to believe that, that's just you choosing to continue to think that. So it's you imprisoning yourself. And if your reality is a reflection of your thought, I'm gonna keep saying this, and you're full of grievances and hurt and anger and not loving yourself, you're going to perceive it, you're going to attract it, and you're going to experience it. Now, people say, well, what about good people that always have horrible things happen to them? Well, having the thought of attack, according to the Course, and having the thought that you can be attacked is the exact same thing. So if you're a person walking around is always afraid of what somebody could do to you, that's just as much being focused on attack as it is when you want to attack somebody. So because you're a nice person afraid to walk down the street doesn't mean you're peaceful. It means you have attack thoughts, a lot of them. So don't be surprised at what you tend to create. Now people get mad when you say your thoughts are determining your experience when they have a horrible experience, because they don't want to believe that their experience has anything to do with their thinking. But actually that's the most liberating idea that somebody could ever give you, is that your thoughts create your experience. Because all you got to do at that point is start to pause and start to choose new thoughts, which these spiritual books are full of. So it's not even an excuse for not giving yourself new thoughts. You know, whatever created us loves us so much we can't even comprehend it. Because again, we compare it to human love, which is full of conditions. So sometimes it's hard to believe that no matter what I've done, that there's something that could still love me and want to heal me and want to help me, because human beings are generally that way. So it's hard for me to believe I could be loved that much. But you are. You are. You've been loved so much that you got one of the best tools on earth to change your mind. It's called suffering. Suffering is a great way of knowing you're headed in the wrong direction. It's not something that you should be crucifying yourself about. It's like, you suffering all the time, take the hint. Unless you let somebody give you the thought system that the more you suffer, the better you become, and then you want to be a good person. So if you suffer more than anybody else, you must really be a good person. See that programming? Yeah, because we're taught stuff like that. So the Course says the real basis for doubt about the outcome of any problem that's been given to you for a resolution is always self-doubt. Any kind of doubt is self-doubt, and that necessarily implies that you're placing your trust in your ego. You're placing your trust in an illusory, fearful self, because it's only an illusory, fearful self that's not really you that can be doubted. So whenever you're full of doubt, you're just doubting what's not you.
Yeah.
All your lack of trust is in what's not you, and that makes sense. Yeah, of course, I have full of doubt if I've been trusting the part of me that don't love me, and I've been listening to the part of me that doesn't always love me, and the result I've been getting is a painful result. Yeah, I'm going to doubt myself but that's not yourself. So you need somebody to tell you that that fearful, doubting, guilty self isn't yourself. It's an idea about yourself that you made up and learned that you're still identifying with. Wow. Now, this illusion of doubting yourself can have a nice day. This illusion can take many forms of doubting you. Now, how can you tell when you're doubting a you that's not really you? He said, well, perhaps there's a fear of weakness and vulnerability. Perhaps you have a fear of failure. Perhaps you have a fear of shame associated with a sense of inadequacy. Perhaps you have a guilty embarrassment that's stemming from false humility. The form of the mistake isn't important. The appearance of the mistake isn't important. What's important is what? The recognition of a mistake as being a mistake. The form or the appearance of the mistake, I just need to recognize the mistake, not the appearance that the mistake is taken. See, whatever area of your life that you're experiencing any kind of pain or conflict or guilt or fear, you can say it could be in your finances, your relationship, your health, your career, your spiritual development. Those are forms of the one mistake of thinking that you're separate from God, thinking that you're separate from Source, thinking that we're separate from each other, produces all the various symptoms that we see. We try to deal with the individual symptom instead of the cause. It's like cutting the grass and never pulling the weed up by the roots. If you don't get rid of the roots, the grass is going to keep coming back, right? The weed is going to keep coming. That's what we do. We deal with the symptom and not with the cause. And the cause, in the Course in Miracles says, I am a book that deals only with cause, not effect. I'm going to teach you what's causing your pain and what could cause your joy. You are all focused in on the result of your wrong thinking and not what caused it. And people do that in relationships a lot. They have a relationship that goes sour, and then they jump right back into the next one without taking the time to examine what was it that I did that contributed to what happened to that result. And if they think it's the other person, totally, that's why they jump into the new relationship so fast, because it has nothing to do with me. So I'm just ready for the next relationship next week because it was their fault. See, and then they notice it's been happening over and over and over again. And so guess what? You're the common denominator in all your relationships. It's been you. They didn't get on the phone and call each other. You are the common denominator in every relationship. So there's nothing happening in your relationships that are not connected to you. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. So I need to deal with the cause of my relationships, which is my thinking, rather than I'm going to go talk to this person I had a relationship with and try to straighten that out. Then I'm going to try to talk to this person over here and see if I can straighten it out, what happened with them. See, that's dealing with the symptom, the effect, without dealing with the cause, which was what is it about my thinking that created the pain that I'm giving myself in relationship. So the last paragraph. There are resuscitation stations that'll be over here before you leave. Okay. What is the mistake? Okay. What is the mistake? Why am I reading this when I've read it 100 times? Because I'm demonstrating what you must do. I'm demonstrating what it looks like to study and give something your attention and hear what it's saying. Because you'd be amazed at how many people want the results of the Course and other truth teachings, but they don't want to do what would give them the result, which would be giving it some attention and some study. But what's cool about it is there is a limit to pain and suffering, and everybody reaches their limit, even though some people have much greater tolerance than others. But you will reach your limit. You will reach that relationship that goes, okay, that just must be a better way. It's got to be. You'll hit that financial situation. I got to change my mind about this. Or the spiritual situation. You have to reach your limit. And sometimes you interfere with people reaching their limit sooner. Sometimes you have to let people reach their limit. You really do. So I'm up here like this because I reached my limit. That's why I'm teaching this. I need every single thing I'm teaching. The teacher, you teach best what you most need to learn yourself because you have a built-in interest and motivation when you need it. So I'm not coming from on high, even in Colorado, and And pardon my wisdom on those of you who just don't know and kind of pathetic. That's not what I'm doing. I'm giving what I need to receive and what you need to receive. We are equals. We are equals. That's what we are.
Yes.
The Course in Miracles says miracles come from a sense of equality. It's always easier to get along with people who you see as like you and the same as you. But most people try to hook up with people that they think have qualities they don't have, which just increases their fear. You know, if you're jealous and insecure, and you're looking and you want the person who has absolutely no jealousy, never shows any jealousy, that's totally cooled out about his tending to everybody all the time, you'll be a nervous wreck and want to kill them after 3 days. But if that person was the same as you, and they're trying to work through their issues around jealousy, or learn what the truth is, or learn how to be more loving, and you do too, and y'all have the same thing, then you can relate to each other and where you're coming from more. So it's okay to have somebody a little bit, maybe a little bit in front of you, but you don't want about 10 yards in front of you. You know, you're going to have an inferiority complex hanging out with Jesus. Jesus walking on water. You know, you can't even walk on water puddles. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? We're the same. All of us, we're on one level. The Course in Miracles says there's just one level, the learning level. And we're all on it. Just one level, the learning level. So it says, what is the mistake? It's always some form of concern with yourself to the exclusion of the patient, which is the other person. What's the one mistake? Is I'm more concerned about myself and myself only, and not how what I'm doing will have any effect on anyone else. I'm just thinking about myself. I want a relationship so somebody can make me happy. You know, I want to be the president of a company so I'll stand out. You know, it's all about me. And the Course says that's our mistake. We're too self-absorbed, separate from everyone else. And it says it's a failure to recognize that person as part of yourself. You are each and every one of you. I see you as part of myself, part of the one self, different manifestations of my one self. And if I see you that way, even if I don't say it to you, I still evoke a different kind of relationship from you. People are treating me more loving because in my mind, I'm seeing them as being a part of me and not separate from me. I am part of your family. Now go home with that one. Me.
Yes.
Right? And the Course in Miracles says, confusion. He says, when I don't know that you're a part of me, that's a confusion in my identity, because my identity includes all of us, all that is. We are joined. We are one. So conflict about what you are has entered your mind. So what is your conflict coming from? It's coming from me being conflicted about what I am. One minute I think I'm a loving being, and the next minute I think I'm something other than a loving being. I'm confused. I think I'm separate from you. I don't believe that you are one with me. I also am more concerned about myself than you. That's the mistake. See, that's the mistake. And the Course says you are deceived about yourself, and so therefore you are deceived about yourself because you have denied the source of your creation. I am deceived about myself. You are deceived about yourself. You are innocent. You are loved. You are lovable. You are beautiful. You are holy. You are innocent. You're confused if you think you're. I was talking to the other day to somebody, and they were talking about, trying to say something about themselves that was less than loving. And I said, stop lying to me. I can't stand it when somebody lies to me. But you dare say you're anything less than perfect. I don't want to hear that stuff. You're being arrogant. You think your perception of yourself is more accurate than the perception that God has of you, which is that you are valuable and you are loved. So you're the one that's arrogant. You know, God in love is telling you that you are priceless, and you're saying, no, I'm not. You are arrogant. You think what you think about yourself is truer than what Spirit thinks about you. And I'm like, wow. Wow. Do you hear me? So how many times have you lied to yourself today? How many times have you put yourself down today? Then just say, I'm arrogant. And I've been lying to myself. And when you say that, you'll start to automatically correct it because you've already been programmed to not want to lie to yourself. So that's the Course using the programming that you already have to free you. So just have a new definition of what lying means. Have a new definition about what telling the truth means is what the Course is saying. Me telling you the truth is not me telling you what I think about the dress you wear. And if I don't like it. Now, telling you the truth is to tell you that you're sinless, guiltless, innocent, loved, loving, and lovable, and you deserve to be happy. That's someone telling you the truth. The rest of that stuff is meaningless stuff that doesn't have any real meaning over time. If you really want to find out what's important, ask yourself if the thing you're thinking about is important, would be important to anybody 100 years from now. And you'll get real clear indication about whether what you are so upset about is so important. Think about it. Last two sentences. Whew! If you're offering only healing, you can't doubt. If all I want is your healing, if all I want is your happiness, and that's all I want, then I don't have room for doubt, because that's all I want. If that's all I want, there's no room for doubt. And then it says, if you really want the problem solved, you cannot doubt. So if I really want the problem solved, I must not doubt that I really want the problem solved.
Thank you.
I really want my fear solved. I really want the guilt solved. I want my separation from you solved. I'd much rather feel the love of everybody in this room and feel my love coming from me to everybody in this room than anything we would say to each other intellectually. Me personally. I want to feel the love of God in us. I don't care about all our different belief systems and debating about whose point of view is right and whether you agree. I don't care if you agree with me or not. Because I'm not even going to see you after the class. Right? Think about that for a minute. Sometimes we'll get caught up in, oh, you disagree with me, so let's get into this big discussion about how you disagree with me so I can try to get you to... It doesn't matter whether or not you agree with me. You're not determining my experience. So, yeah, we can entertain ourselves by that sometimes. It's kind of fun sometimes to do that. But the truth is, it doesn't really matter. Recognize what doesn't matter. You know, the Course says we don't recognize what doesn't matter. You know, what matters is that we recognize that we're one with each other, that we want peace for each other, that we want love for each other, that you have the same needs and desires that I have. And we should do whatever we can to support those needs and desires. There was somebody that said $86 billion would cure world hunger.
Who cares?
You know, and what I'm saying about that is it's much easier to handle things than we think it is. It's just a matter of what we place our priorities. That there's not insurmountable problems in the world. There's just endless selfishness and self-absorption and fear and misperception of who and what we really are. And then everybody's waiting for everybody else to do it. And then it was funny, Marianne Williamson talked about the power of love when she was on the debate, and many people ridiculed her. It's like, we're in a place that's so insane that if you say loving each other has power, we are ridiculed. That gives you some idea of the level of insanity that you have.
Right.
Because it's my mind. It's one mind. It's one self. Whatever this is, it's really just one whatever it is looking like it's a whole lot of different stuff. So whatever goes into your mind goes into my mind at some level if our minds are joined. So every time we come together, focus on the truth, then it benefits everything and everyone around us. You are the light of the world. You're meant to be somebody in the world that's thinking different from the way the world thinks. That's what's your function. If you recognize that was your function, the rest of your life would work. That's the truth. You didn't come here just to be the president of a company, or to be a teacher, or a postman, or whatever we do in the world. That's just the role we play in allowing our spiritual power and the love that we are to come into this world to help transform it. That's all. And if you just accepted that that was your function, to be an example of what kind of person you would be if you were really coming from a loving place, you would be shocked at how you would be provided for. That's the truth. That's the truth. Oh, there's sinners. All right. Okay. It says, you are deceived about yourself because you denied that God created you. If you are offering only healing, you can't doubt. If you really want the problem solved, you can't doubt. If you are certain what the problem is, you can't doubt. Doubt is the result of conflicting wishes. If I'm in conflict about what I want, I'm going to be full of doubt. If I'm not in conflict about what I want. I want forgiveness. I want love. I want joining. I want peace. I want abundance. I want connection. I want freedom. I want happiness. And I want it for all of you. Because until I want it for you too, it's not a real desire.
Thank you.
The universe could care less about your personal interests. The court says, or what? It said, God could care less about your personal interests. That's why nobody else does. That's your ego trip. That's your ego trip. The thing that you fantasized about that you think you need to have, that's your fantasy. That's not necessarily anybody else's fantasy. So at the point that I really recognize you are one with me and I'm one with you and we have a spiritual connection, I'm not going to ask for peace for myself without asking for peace for you. Because if you are myself and I'm not asking for peace for you, that's like me trying to look out for this arm but don't care what happens to that one, but they're both part of the same body. When you love with one person and then you feel like you can't love anybody else, then you loving this finger and you leaving the rest of you off and you're wondering why you are challenged like you are. You're just one finger. And somebody giving you the finger. You know what I'm saying? So be sure of what you want. Be sure of what you want. And doubt becomes impossible. Would you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much? That's the truth. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Okay, we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation right now. Thank you. I thank you as a full-time teacher, and Unity Temple also thanks you because it's through your generosity we are able to continue to do what we do here. And I got one little thing I'm going to share with you and then we'll head out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with me. Those of you online on Facebook Live, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, Earl Purdy, Purdy.com. So glad to have my live brothers and sisters online. And you can also use Venmo by using my email address, which is my name, Earl Purdy at earlpurdy.com. I do this full time because it was my calling. It's why I'm in the world. And I don't have any set fee that I charge for my classes and things that I do because I want people to feel like they can take part regardless of their financial situation. But that doesn't mean I don't want to receive money.
Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
Ask for what you want.
Well, I'm just like everyone else.
Yep.
See, that's what people forget. I'm just like everyone else. All the needs you have are the same needs I have.
Yeah, right.
But God works through us.
Right.
Works through us. So I'm sustained by the love of God. You're being sustained by the love of God. I will be sustained no matter what. You will be sustained no matter what. That's the truth. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Also, those of you who are open to it, I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, where I take my 40 years of working with this and bring it to your individual situation and circumstance that you're dealing with. Also, I've been a sole purpose astrologer and numerologist for 40 years almost. It was what got me on my spiritual path to begin with, and I'm good at it. And if you want to really get past some blocks and get more insight into why the heck am I here, what's my easiest path, then have a session with me and have a reading with me. And if you're interested in that, go to my website and you look under the section called Clarity Sessions, and you'll be able to self-book right there online. You did not come here without a divine plan. You do not come here without talents and abilities and lessons that are uniquely yours that can allow you to have the kind of life you've dreamed of. Do not buy into what the world teaches you about tuning to your intuitive psychic self. It's not okay that it's all intellectual left brain and that's it. Reason and logic and the intellect are beautiful and helpful, but so is your intuitive psychic side. And we have invisible as well as visible help. If you're suffering, you're trying to do everything on your own. If you're suffering, you're trying to do everything on your own and you're following your plan. That's the two things that's happening. You're trying to do it alone and you're trying to follow your plan. If you are, you will know right now because you're suffering and you feel afraid and you feel unfulfilled. And that which loves us, that which created us, uses us to communicate through. So check it out. If I can be of assistance, that's what I'm here to do. Got hundreds and hundreds of classes on my website you can watch for free, and on YouTube and on Facebook. So listen to it more than once, because what did we hear? It's the repetition that allows us to change our mind and get away from around negative people. Well, I know that means you can't get away from yourself sometimes, but I left me on the corner. I just saw me on the corner, you know. No, remember, your ego is just a voice. It's primarily the voice in your head. I'm gonna keep saying that. It's just a voice you're listening to in your head. It's a conversation that you're having with yourself all day. That's what makes most people unhappy. It's the conversation you're having with yourself all day. That's what it is. And you know it is what it is because you see it in your friends and relatives. Because you'll be the first one to say, you know, you really need to be telling yourself something different. Say that to you. You know, you wouldn't even hang out with a friend that told you the things you tell yourself sometimes. You wouldn't even want that person to have your phone number. Fire that part of you. Resign as your own teacher. Admit you didn't create yourself. That there is something greater than your own intelligence you can tap into. And love will transcend our differences. People who love you will accept you even if you don't think like them. So love is really the only answer. But it's not what we learn. That's specialists. But specialists can be used as a tool to take you to love. So I'm not putting it down. That'd be too deep for all of y'all. Okay? So we're not going to do that. So take a breath. And there's one statement that I want to finish with today. And anyone that wants to say it, and only those who want to say it, would you please say it? I bless the world because I bless myself. 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 I bless the world because... And what about this? All that I give is given to myself. All that I give is given to myself. All that I give is given to myself. All that I give is given to myself, and I am entitled to miracles. I am entitled to miracles. Say what? I am entitled to miracles. I am entitled. Now this is the tough part. Now look at someone and say, you are entitled to miracles. You are entitled to miracles. You are entitled to miracles. You are entitled. Now here's an even tougher one. You are juicy and cute. You are juicy and cute. Give it up, mighty companion. So glad you all are part of me. It's a few suspects. So don't forget, hugs are available. I love hugs. And anybody that wants one, I'm here for you. And don't forget, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, The Way of Mastery on Facebook Live. And Thursday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Facebook Live. It's Hardcore Course in Miracles. And then on Sundays, I appreciate you all coming out because I'm doing this live class for us to come together. So it would be no point in doing it if nobody was here. So I'm glad that y'all show up so we can have this experience of each other. My mighty companions online, thank you. I love you so much. I love and appreciate y'all. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you. You all are awesome. It's on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, and you don't have to have a Facebook account to watch the live broadcast. Just go to, listen, www.facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live. So whether you are on Facebook or not, if you have an account, you can still watch the live broadcast. So spread the word. Spread the word. I need you as much as you need me. That's the way it works. All right.